complexities of Nigeria's politics and governance, from INEC releasing 2027 election timetable to federal government launching Operation Savannah Shield after Kwara attack. Also, El Rufai restates reserve to unseat Tinubu's government. And finally, NNPP Kwankwasia condemn U.S. bill targeting Kwankwaso. Join us as we break down the fact and provide context to help you stay informed. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll dig deeper into these topics. Don't go away. Glad to have you back. Let's dive straight into what we have for you today. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has officially released the timetable for the 2027 general elections. The chairman of INEC, Professor Amopiton, announced that the presidential and national assembly elections will be held on Saturday, February 20, 2027. Governorship and State House of Assembly elections will follow 2 weeks later on Saturday, March 6, 2027. The Commission also outlined the official campaign period for political parties and candidates. Campaigns for the presidential and national assembly elections will run from November 18, 2026 to February 1, 2027. Meanwhile, campaigns for the governorship and state assembly elections will begin on December 15, 2026 and end on March 5, 2027, exactly 24 hours before the respective election days. Political parties are expected to conduct their primaries between July 1 and September 30, 2026, after which they must submit their list of candidates to the Commission between October 1 and October 31, 2026. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by two distinguished guests. Here in the studio, we have Elvis Elimihele. He is a seasoned journalist and a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you, sir. I'm glad to have you join us, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
I said glad to have you, sir. Glad to have you join us.
Good evening, Nena.
Good evening. It's always a pleasure to have you. I missed you last week.
Yes. Thank God it's Friday. And this is a Valentine edition.
Yes. Joining us virtually, we have Prince Imoshemi. He's a development practitioner and a political affairs analyst. Glad to have you join us, Prince.
Thank you very much. Glad to be on the show. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, let me start with you. INEC has announced, or they've released the timetable. What do you make of this announcement? What does this portend for our nation? Because so many people have been clamoring for INEC to release timetable, and now they've released the timetable. What do you make of it?
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening once again. And I would say it's about time, because we all know that even before the timetable was released, political parties have already started to campaign, and it was almost as if we were already in the political era. So I would say INEC releasing the 2027 timetable this early is actually a big deal. It's a signals structure, it signals predictability. Now political parties just have to, they don't have excuses anymore. Preparation starts now. And February 2027 may look far, but in politics, that's basically tomorrow. The real game starts with party primaries and voter mobilization. The timetable just triggered I would say it just triggered the race. So just to conclude, I would say it's a call to the young people, because now we have to play our part also as the voters on voter registration and trying to get our PPCs ready ahead of this 2027 election. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. You said this portends structure, or this shows structure. So I want to ask you, do you think that INEC is really, really prepared for this election?
I would say if I'm speaking like a mathematician now, let me give it in terms of percentages. I would say they are about 50 to 60% ready. I mean, there are still some excuses like I mean, the results cannot be transmitted live because of some network constraints and all that. I mean, these are issues that we are clamoring for. These are things that they need to put into place even before 2027 when we have the election. So to answer your question, I think they are not really there yet. They are not 100% ready, but I believe they have the resources. I mean, I saw a couple of days ago, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I saw the proposed budget for the 2027 elections, and I think they have the resources and they have the time to put in any infrastructure that needs to be put into place for us to have a good election. So they are not there yet, but they have the resources to get to where we want to get to.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me come to you, Mr. Elvis. You know, he talked about the budget. Let me start with that. You know, so many people have questioned this budget. Some persons have said that the budget is too much, or it's a lot. Charlie, considering the fact that one of the things proposed for the capital expenditure is building a hospital, and you're like, hospital? Like, what does INEC need a hospital for? It looks like misplaced priority. You know, let's go there first before we now begin to talk about this announcement. What do you make of that budget? Do you align with that school of thought that the money is actually a lot?
Yeah, Nena, let me actually, speak in line with that hospital issue. You see, sometimes when this is why most of these our MDAs, ministry, department, and agencies actually don't actually know what they are expected for. How can an INEC be talking of building a hospital? INEC, incidentally, Nena, they have staff in all the 36 states of the Federation and Abuja. Are they talking of building this hospital around all the 36 states, or they just want to build a hospital in Abuja? How many of INEC staff are in Abuja that need hospital? What INEC should have been talking of, not even INEC, what Nigeria government should be talking of, is how to make Nigeria hospital functional so that you and I can walk in there. Then INEC can now be talking of, okay, they have a HMO, that their staff can get to any hospital and be able to get the best of treatment. Why will INEC be including getting a hospital for themselves in a budget? As far as I'm concerned, that's fraud. They should face their core mandate. Do you know what it means to give a country an election? This is a new administration in INEC. Is this how Amokuton is going to lead INEC? We saw the monumental failure of Yakub Mahmoud. Even though Nigeria government started rewarding him with national honor and making him an ambassador after he left. But Nigerians today knows too well that Mahmoud Yakub does not have a good name before Nigerians. So Amokuton should, as respected as Nigerians, applauded his appointment, he should not come up with things that will now begin to make us to that thing. They should quickly find a way to expunge that hospital matter out of that budget. Then be that at its main, Nena, do you know, the budget, the timetable they released is loaded. It's loaded. By the time you now begin to talk of appropriation for hospital, you now begin to talk of getting the contractor, begin to talk of supervising it, your attention is divided. Tomorrow we will now begin to hear glitch again, which you don't want to hear in 2027. Why are they trying to divide their own attention? There is a Ministry of Health that's supposed to take care of that. Even Abuja, the federal capital, has a federal capital authority that should be talking of all the general hospitals in Abuja should work adequately so that INEC staff that are in Abuja or any other part of Nigeria, even this respective state, there is no state in Nigeria that does not have a federal medical center. This is what they should have even, okay, let us work with Minister of Health and say, okay, please, we have staff who, they are not even the only one that have staff that need a hospital. Nigeria generally need hospital. So that should be taken out. Then for the timetable, we have seen that they have outlined what they are going to do this year. That should be enough for them to work on, not other things that will distract them. They have said continual voters registration will commence in March. And it's going to end in January 2027. Do you know what that means? They should be concerned with the number of PVCs that are there. People are difficult for INEC to even say, let us begin to find a way to begin to dispatch PVCs to people. It's not too much. If I see that one in the budget, I will say, okay, these people are concerned about, erasing voter party. They wanted to capture everybody. can begin to think of something of this nature. Abroad, things of this nature can be used as May. You get it at the front of your house, you pick it and take it. It should bring in better innovation because the number of PVCs that are lying unpicked by Nigerians is so much in all the 36 states. This issue bring in those kind of new ideas that Nigerians will see they are serious. Okay, is it now Nigerians become out now to go and talk of registration? But sometimes after registration, many of them will not go and pick it. I knew what it took my wife to get her PVC in 2022. She traveled to one of the villages in Lagos here, interior villages, towards Badagry, because she was determined to get her PVC. Why don't you find a way to relieve Nigeria of such things and say, okay, we are starting off another voters registration, but these are collection points that will be easier for people to easily pick up their PVCs. Then you're talking of party primaries. Remember, we are talking of national election. Now, this is a general election. It's not just an off-season election. We're talking of one state. And remember, even this same year, Osun State is coming in. Ekiti State is coming. You have not even thought of all these ones. These loaded duties you have at hand. You are talking of a hospital in your budget. So, think of how to let Nigeria begin to see difference in our election. By July 1st, primary starts. We have up to 18 political parties in Nigeria. We don't know how many of them will fly candidates yet, but at least I know up to 10. That's for the for the presidency. Then you talk of the whole National Assembly, 360 members of House of Rep. It's not just 360. Remember, all the political parties are going to have aspirants. You understand that they are going to, and INEC is to monitor all these primaries. Then you have 109 House of Rep, Senate members, House of Senate. Then before you have the 36 states of the nation having state House of Assembly, not even the state governors. You see their hands are filled up. Then you are looking for diversionary things again to get distracted. Then the next thing we are going to hear is that, because they concentrated on figments, then the main object. Why are you chasing shadow? We don't want to hear a repetition of what happened in 2023 general election again in Amukutonse-led INEC. So he should retrace his footsteps and face his core mandate. The core mandate of his office is to give Nigeria credible election.
Wow, thank you. Okay, but let me ask you, with all you've seen so far, do you think that INEC is operationally ready to give us credible elections?
If they drop this figment, they should be able to give us credible election, because what they are asking for, IREV is already on ground. 360-something billion was given to Mahmoud Yakub in 2022 to 2023 to conduct 2023 election. Yeah, so there are already structures on ground. Remember, even this card, the PVC, the Beavers machine. So many were brought in. Then when we were talking about, will the Beavers be enough? Those are the areas now. Where did they not measure up to standard before? How many beavers? How many of them are functioning? Are we reconfiguring it? These are the things they should be talking about. Then, if the IREV, that glitch that we announced to us last time, okay, if there are areas now that we think that, the network is not good enough for us to transmit, because we are talking of election result transmission, in real time. That's what the Electoral Act is heading towards now after the protest this week. You understand? Then, how do we work with NCC, Nigeria Communication Commission, to make sure that we show up networks in areas where there may be failure, so that we will not hear the language of glitch again? These are concerns, and these are the things that will capture the Nigerians' mind more than a hospital. More than a hospital. Many of them, they even I know if he's not feeling fine today, he will not remain to treat himself in this nation. Why is he trying more than the bereaved? If there is anything, it should not even be the one that should be mentioning hospital. It doesn't belong to Ministry of Health. We have Ali Pate, the Minister of Health, that should be talking about Nigerian hospitals are not working well. Not himself. He should be concerned now with how will Nigeria, every part of Nigeria, have network to transmit the result real time. He should be concerned with how am I going to be talking of the welfare of even the ad hoc staff? How will material be able to move to pulling boost in real time? Nena, these are some of the things, constraints we have always having in our election. That there are some polling booths, 1 p.m. materials have not arrived yet. Will it continue in that trajectory? He should be talking about, okay, riverine area. Can I work with Nigeria Navy to help me to move materials into riverine areas? Okay, if there are other areas that are so difficult, how do I work with Nigeria Air Force? To fly is done in other countries of the world. To fly in materials, there should be this collaboration now. Wherever Mahmoud failed, he should be able to provide solution to them. Not coming to start adding to the work of INEC, especially those that don't belong to INEC.
Okay, I want to ask you a question, but I'm going to come back to you. I want to ask you something in line with us printing our materials outside the country. Is it not high time that we print our materials, in Nigeria? What is stopping us from printing our materials in Nigeria? These are some of the innovation we should be putting in place. We have Nigeria printing and meeting. That even goes as far as supposed to be printing Nigeria currency, as sensitive as Nigeria currency. Why can't that one? Why can't we even come in collaboration with such an organization and say, okay, I don't want a situation where we will not be spending hard-earned dollars or whatever for forex to begin to print outside. Can't we empower Nigeria printing and meeting and say, print this thing for us, locally? Let's empower them. These are collaboration we should be talking about. Why can't we do our things domestically and also come up with results? We go to print in South Africa. This is still an African country. Is the technology? Can't we import the technology with this billion he's mentioning in his budget? He should be able to say, let's collaborate with some of these organizations, these agencies in Nigeria, and get it better. By January 2022, we'll be hearing that even the foreign company printing the materials have not brought them into Nigeria. Then before you know, you now begin to talk of, we are now beginning to think of what way forward. Getting what forward, we now begin to see fake printing and the original printing. We'll not be able to know which one is which. This at the time is okay. Nigeria Printing and Meeting Company, let us begin to work together. I want everything, my own administration, I want everything to be domesticated, and these are my plan. Roll out your plan, not hospital. It's an aberration for INEC to be talking of hospital. Let me go back to our virtual guest. And Prince, I'm sure you're still with us. Before now, we've seen some, I would call it hidden campaigns or subtle campaignings going on. And even when INEC has not even opened the window for campaigning. But now that this timetable has been released, do you think that it will reduce uncertainty, or would it intensify early political tension and, intensify the political tension we already have in the country?
Okay, thank you very much. And to be honest, I think it's only going to heighten the tensions of whatever has been going on, because as far back as the first, I don't want to sound political right now, I'm not, but then as far back as the first year of the current administration, we could already see low-key campaigning already happening. There were billboards, there were roads that were designed with Asuwaju 2027. These are things that we have already been seeing even before now. And now that the INEC has officially come and say, okay, this is the timetable that we're going to use, I think, honestly, it's only going to intensify the efforts that have been downplayed in the past, coming from 2 years back and last year up until this year. I think it's only going to really heighten. There's going to be a lot of tension moving forward. And I think there's going to be a lot of decamping. And I think we're really in for a show with this one. And to just be direct, I don't think things are going to be as calm as we expect or as calm as we would like. I think the political landscape is about to get really tensed because of now that the INEC has rolled out the timetable for the 2027 general election.
Okay, while you were speaking earlier, you kind of talked about the electronic transmission, which has been like it's been in the news. It's been a tug. I don't want to use a tug of war, but it's been a back and forth. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's been a back and forth amongst the senators, amongst Nigerians, and all of that. But I want to ask you, and I'm going to also throw this question to our guest in the studio: electronic transmission. Do you think that is the only thing we need to make our elections free, fair, and credible? Please unmute your device, please.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't think that's the only thing that needs to change. But speaking of one of the major things that Nigerians are clamoring for. We want to see our results in real time. It is possible. It is doable. I mean, if you really look at the statistics, it takes about 600 to about 800 kilobytes, not even up to 1 megabyte to transmit the EC, the election form with the results for people to see. So that issue of that excuse of there is no network, I mean, it doesn't hold water anymore. And I think we also have some issues regarding some voters. I mean, when I say voters, some citizens that are kind of disenfranchised because of the role they play during the election. And that's one of the reforms that we, the Altes from Yaga Africa, are trying to push, because there are a lot of people, election officials that work. I mean, I myself, I have been the presiding officer of one of the elections as far back as some 2, 3, 4 years ago, where we tested the electronic beavers of technology when the INEC first introduced it to us. And I remember that I wasn't able to vote that day because I was working on election day. So this is something that INEC needs to look into. They need to look into, I don't know if it's possible to create a day or two before the election, where these people can, security agencies, police, NSCDC, people that will be working on that election day, people that are expected to work on the election day, because of their job, they shouldn't be disenfranchised from participating and voting in elections. It's their basic human right. So I believe INEC should also, I mean, the electronic, the transmission of the transmission of results is there, but then another issue that needs to be looked into is the provision of a time where these people can vote. I mean, right now I've talked about the election workers, the security officials. There are even some prisoners that still have voting rights. So these people, I mean, if you calculate all these votes together, I mean, you'll be talking about millions here, because it's not just, I mean, Nigeria is a lot, we are very, really populated. So if you put in these people in different states, combine it together, you will see that there's some political parties or some political aspirants are actually losing credible votes that would actually be able to make a difference in the general election. So this is also another issue that the INEC needs to look into, in addition to the live transmission of votes.
Okay, thank you. Let me come to you, Mr. Elvis. I wanted to talk about this particular question. You know, there's just been so much clamoring about this electronic transmission, and I'm wondering, aside from is electronic transmission going to make our elections free, fair, and credible, or are there other factors that we need to ensure that our elections are free, fair, and credible?
You know, election has to do with pre and election day itself and post. These three must work together for an election to be called credible. Pre is the preparation of the campaign. The ruling party must give that atmosphere to other political parties to also have a fair share in having adequate campaign. Not a situation where you were at a billboard and because your party is not the party that owns that state, then the governor will go and pull it down. You know what I'm talking about. So that conducive atmosphere for other political parties to also have that right to campaign, to reach out to Nigerians, first of all must be created. I'm talking about the pre now. It must be created. Political rallies, they must have a situation where another party will say, oh, we want to use also stadium. That is when the governor will not tell you he's renovating it. That stadium is locked up, you cannot use it. Do you understand, Nena? That must be kicked against. The releasing of security for them to also move. They also need security to move. Not only the ruling party should line up convoy because they are campaigning. They need it. These are pre. They must be able to gather for their meetings. Not a situation where they are gathering, then the ruling party will now release hoodlums to go and disrupt their gathering or disrupt their campaign, tear down their billboard and all this. All these ones must be worked against. The ruling party must not allow this. Give a conducive atmosphere to everybody to have a fair play, because politics is game and politics has to do with choice. You can't change my choice. Even if you are bullying me, the person I like is the person I'm going to vote for. That's true. Then get it to the election proper itself. Like what we saw in some states last time, that people were driven out of the queue because they said you are not going to vote for the social party. that must not allow to take place. It must be checked. Because if you are doing that, you are inviting anarchy. You cannot disenfranchise somebody. Because the right to vote and be voted for is my own right. That's franchise. It's a constitutional right. So I'm on the queue and I want to vote for somebody. Somebody is coming to tell me, leave the queue. Then you are attacking me. That must be checked. The ruling party must be able to secure everybody that want to go and cast their vote for their candidates. It must not be the ruling party that I love. Whoever I love to vote for, I must have that right to go and cast my vote unhindered or molested. That must be done. Then coming to the role of the umpire itself, that is the INEC. INEC must make sure that, first of all, electoral materials must get to the polling booth as at when due. I was an observer in 2023 general election, Nena. I was one of the observers, independent observer. And I know to that day, especially that day of the presidential election, as early as 6:30, Nigerians were already in their respective polling booths. There were some areas that as at 11 we never got materials. That must not, these are things that discourage people from coming out. So that must be checked. We are talking about credible election now, things that make election to be credible. By the time electoral material now come in, maybe 2 p.m., then you now the vote now spill into 8 p.m. in the night, things will begin to go wrong. Because I remember in some places in the last election, some people have to go and start bringing out their generator to assist. INEC doesn't have generator. But they were the cause of the problem. INEC must be able to make arrangements with good transport system. I don't even know why INEC is talking about using National Union of Road Transport Workers, knowing fully well that these members of this National Union of Road Transport Workers, in some states, they do the bidding of the sitting governor and even the president. Not even this kind of National Union of Road Transport Workers we have in Nigeria today. We know who the leaders are and how they got here. And what we tell INEC must discourage that. Look for other means of other transport systems that you can use that are much more credible, that are much more refined. Not going to rely on buses from, Agbero until they release their bus or whatever. When their chairman called them and said, this is the person we must work for, that's where all of them is going to work for. They can decide to sabotage the area they know that an opposition party has strength. Material may get there late. You know what that will mean? These are some of the things we'll be talking about. I'm talking of the re-election day now itself. Then post. After we have finished voting, we are now expected to hear results. 3 a.m. announcement of who won must be discouraged. Because as at 3 a.m., I'm sleeping and I'm snoring. I finished voting. I don't want to start hearing that, when I now wake up, they say president has been announced. We have to discourage that. So that's why we are talking about let the technology play its role as expected. Nana, if the technology play its role as expected, even before I go to bed, I've not seen the winner yet. It's not been announced. But with my collation from the IREV and my collation, my mind may be addressed that, okay, this person is coasting towards this victory. I followed Ghana election, December 7th. I already know that Mahama is coming back. I say, Mahama is coming back. Mahama was also just like our former president, Goodluck Jonathan. His boss died, inherited the remaining position, he contested and won. But when he was coming back, he lost the election. Exactly what happened to Goodluck Jonathan. But Ghana now saw that this man is not bad. Let us bring him back because the person they voted for that unseated him disappointed them. So before I went to bed that day, I already see that Mahama is coming back. And I was happy for his victory because I was already seeing everything as expected. I follow politics because that's the only thing I know. So now a situation where Nigeria is talking about we may not have network. Don't preempt it so that day you not go and switch it off and say you already said it was not going to. How can the city senator be telling us that 9 states does not have network? After 26 years of democracy, and the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy has been having budget for 9 years. And we have a very savvy young man who is the minister for this current administration. And he has been doing his best. He has laid underground cable for so many states that we're not having network since he came in. He's one of the credible, Dr. Bosun, one of the credible ministers we can still speak for in this administration. This is the time to make sure that we give him an assignment. All these states that we think that a network is going to fail, let us find a way to shut them up. He can do it. He has a budget. Let him work in collaboration with INEC. So that by the time Nigerians go to sleep, they are already aware that before they even went to bed, they have seen so much of this thing on screen already. I follow America election. I don't live in America. I follow South Africa. I already saw the party, the ruling party in South Africa that there was Nelson Mandela's party. What's the name now? Was already going off. I said, wow, what's going on with ANC? Because I could see it, I could read it and see it in Nigeria here. Why can't Nigeria's election be seen by other African countries and even countries beyond Africa? If Ghana can get it right, South Africa can get it right, even Kenya can get it right, we must be able to get it right. Then immediately after that day, the post-election, when the result is announced, let it be that the result is the result that everybody knows. We already know. That acceptability, Nena, douse tension. It douse tension. Nobody went to court in Ghana. But when there are doubts, the court festers. And at the end of the day, democracy, which is government of number, now become a government that is going to be given to us by only 5 judges or 6 judges sitting and say this is not the president or this is not the governor. We must discourage that. I'm talking of post-election now. We must try as much as people to get it right from the election day itself, so that the post will be credible between you and I and can say, no, actually, we actually knew he was going to get the victory. These are some of the areas we should be talking about, Nena.
Okay, before I move to the next conversation that we have tonight, while you were speaking, you reeled out some countries that we know that are getting it right, that have gotten it right.
Yeah.
But why do you think Nigeria hasn't yet gotten it right? Is it about our leaders? Is it our leaders? Is it corruption? Is it our leaders that are not?
It is greed and corruption. The politicians deliberately do it. An average Nigerian politician is very selfish, is very greedy, and is full of manipulations. So they do all these things because they know too well. You know, this is supposed to just be a very little issue. If you are a student and you didn't read, you will not pass. You will not pass. When we were in school, I don't know what's going on now. When we were in school, if you don't read, you will not pass. So a politician who did not do the bidding of his people for 4 years ought not to be returned. But because they know that they have not done the bidding and they want to go there by all means, they now tend to bring in manipulations. That's why you see it has not worked in Nigeria. Because Nigeria politicians are not accountable to the people that voted them into power. They're only accountable to themselves and their family. That's what Nigerians must be discouraged. That's why we are clamoring on let the system work so that Nigerians can begin to throw out those ones that never did their bidding for the first opportunity they were given. 4 years. If you don't do my own bidding for these 4 years, you should be thrown out. You're not expected to come back. That's why we are calling on credible electoral system, electoral acts that will give Nigerians that leverage, that opportunity to be able to say, this is the person I voted for, and this is the person, and this is the person, and my result counted as expected. That's the issue, Nena.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Elvis. Let's move to the next conversation, and of course, we are delving into security now. The federal government has launched a new security operation following a deadly terror attack in Kwara State. The renewed offensive, code-named Operation Savannah Shield, involves the deployment of military personnel, police units, and National Forest Guard to reinforce security in vulnerable communities. Authorities confirmed that at least 75 people were killed in the attack, prompting immediate federal response. The federal government has ordered the redeployment of police officers from VIP escort duties to frontline security operations to reinforce manpower and boost security presence in Kwara, Plateau, Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, Niger, and the Federal Capital Territory. Let me come to you first, Prince. Oh, okay. I heard that our virtual guest is out. So let me come to you, Dr. I said Dr. Elvis.
Maybe I'm heading
Maybe I'm heading to Doctor. Let me come to you, sir. Okay, what do you make of this Operation Savannah Shield? Would you call it like a rebranding of an existing counter-terror operations, or what do you make of it?
No, we have had so many of these operations.
Yeah.
We have Operation Hadikai.
Yeah.
We have Operation Lafia Dole. We have so many of these operations that, you know, they have been given different names. But the major thing there is that It is not just the name, it is the action that follows the name that we should be talking about. Now, we saw what happened in Woro and Nuku community, in Kwara State, that led to this operation, Savannah Shade. All those things that led to the killing of those Nigerians, over 200 Nigerians that died, massacred unjustly, avoidable death. With this new operation, Savannah Shade, that is brought up now, they should be able to work with intelligence. They should be proactive. Not when it happens, then maybe it happens again, another operation, whatever will be set up again, We don't need that. We don't need a situation where it is after the whole thing has happened, Nigerians have died, before the president will now begin to come up with whatever operation, or the Nigeria Armed Forces. Now that this one has been, inaugurated and come into operation in Kwara State, and all that fringes around Kwara, Niger, they must be able to do real-time intelligence security gathering. They have to gather intelligence so that if there is any other group, because I heard that there is another group now that have written a letter to a community in Kwara that they are coming. So this very operation, Savannah Shield, should be able to know where that letter, such information is coming from, and those that are behind it. And it may not even be the community that is mentioned. They may know that the attention is of the security forces is on that community. They may go to the neighboring community. So it is an encompassing thing. They should be very proactive. Reactionary matter should be discouraged in security issues. Then again, many government spaces in Nigeria, Nena, this should be discouraged. The governors that are having so much now, since the removal of fuel subsidy in Abuja, the humongous FAC allocation that they get, what are they using it for? We were told last time that even if the security, as they actually took off from Ilorin, before they would have gotten to Woro and Kunu, it would have taken up to 4 hours. A joint that is supposed to be less than 1 hour, because there are no roads. The governors should put their full step down and develop their respective states. There was a time last time when the president said, I was having a meeting with them and said, please go back to your state and wet more ground. Wetting more ground is let development get to the grassroots so that people can feel it. Then the president have actually gone to the Supreme Court, has given local government autonomy, but we have not seen it work. If local government works, Nena, some of these government spaces will be covered or be filled up. That is the government that at the lowest ebb, the government with the people at the grassroots. There is nobody in Nigeria that did not come from a ward. As I sit here, I know my ward. I'm from Ward 9, Eastern Central in Edo State. Do you understand? I know that after the ward, I have a councillor in my ward. And I have a local government chairman. My councillor should be able to know what I need in my ward and report to the chairman of my local government. So if the local government is now having an autonomy and they now get their allocation directly from federal government, the local government chairman must be held accountable for some of this on the development in his own local government. So all these on government spaces, Nena, if local government works, it will reduce. These are things we'll be talking about. It will help security. If the armed forces can move with time and get to where there is trouble, that sunset and sunrise killing in Woro from 6 p.m. in the evening to 7 a.m. in the morning would have been averted. At least within that range of almost 12 hours, they would have been able to get to that place and rescue and help these people. So these are some of the areas that everybody must speak to, not just talking about Operation Savannah Shield. They can't do it alone. Then Nigeria Air Force should also be, whatever is their challenge, if the ground troop cannot get there early enough, the Air Force should also be at the rescue of Nigerians. So if this Operation Savannah Shield is made up of all the armed forces, those, especially Nigeria Air Force, should be activated at all times. That even if the ground force is moving in, let this one first of all go and move in to rescue Nigerians that are under attack. These are some of the areas that we should be looking for in this Operation Savannah Shield.
Okay, let's look at this redeployment of VIP escorts.
Yes.
There was a time the president gave the directive that all VIP, every police officer that is on VIP duty should be withdrawn. And then we saw that afterwards, the IGP withdrew like 11,000. Yeah, and then now, just at the wake of this this particular incident in Kwara State, now there's like an enforcement again of this redeployment.
Yeah.
Do we have to wait until something happens before we ensure that whatever directive that has been given begins to work, or it's obeyed?
No, we are not supposed to wait. That's why I was saying that security must be proactive. We must be proactive in security matters. We are not supposed to wait. Even this one that have been, this 11,000 that have been brought out from carrying Madame handbag and carrying a suitcase, now they have to be retrained. Many of them have been out of formation. They've been out of their real core operational duties, so that they will not just go and become victims in the hands of all these terrorists. I hope they have retrained them and let them get them back to the real rudiment of what they are supposed to be doing. Because for so many years, some of them are now beginning to carry Madame's handbag into parties and markets. And some of them, the other ones are carrying a gas briefcase to airport and whatever. So these were not their duties any longer. So if they are not retrained to become operational officers, they are going to be victims to all these elements. So redeploying them is a good one. But I hope they have given them the necessary refreshment training that will bring them to line, so that we will not begin to record casualty from our armed forces. You know, that will act as moral reduction to others. If anything that will demoralize the Nigerian armed forces should be checked at all costs, whether military, whether armed police or whatever, because nobody sees a fellow person that we were standing together now is already laid down and is dead. Nobody will be happy about it. So before they talk of all this redeployment to all these troubled states, I hope they have given them a refresher course to bring them back to what they were originally trained for before politicians snatched them and made them to become domestic servants.
Well, excuse me. Well, that's the way that analogy is very...
Yes. That's what they have been doing.
The analogy is so
they become a school run, going to drop children in school,
so,
Madame's my supermarket and market, or gas briefcase to the airport and whatever. That's what they've been doing. And you know, they were happy doing it, but now they have been brought back to their real job. So they should be given refreshers training so that they can function properly.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai says the opposition must remain resolute in its effort to unseat the government of President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 general elections. He made this declaration following an attempt by security agencies to detain him at an airport. While describing the airport episode as unfortunate, totally unnecessary, and probably criminal, El-Rufai stated that the incident strengthened his determination to work towards Tinubu's removal from office. Meanwhile, Atiku has criticized the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, describing it as partisan, following the failed attempt to arrest El-Rufai. What's your opinion about the attempt to arrest El-Rufai before we now move on to this, whatever it is that he's saying?
Well, if he has skeleton in his cupboard, it's not bigger than the state. This is a country with a functional constitution. It can be picked up. But the only thing I didn't really like the way they did it, the security agencies, was that they know his address. He's already coming into the country. He's not going out. So you can allow him come in, then get to his house and pick him or invite him for whatever questioning. You know, now turning a sacred place. An airport is a sacred place. That El-Rufai's supporters now have to invade the airport. Where is it done in the world? Where is it done in the world? When you now start hearing listening to and say disrespect nation, you know, giving us different name, the America Donald Trump giving us different name. It is all these people that are bringing us to this disrespect that we get all over the world. People now came to the airport because you hear your leader is coming in, and the security agency said they want to arrest him. Then you now went and start shooting him. It's not done anywhere. This could have been done maturely and more civilized. Let him get to his house. Is he not coming in? He's not going out. Then you can send invitation to him, and if he refuses to honor your invitation, then you cannot do otherwise. We saw sometime when they went to Bogo, the former governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha's house, ESCC. Remember, we saw all the shenanigans they played around the former governor of Kogi State, Yaku, what is former governor of Kogi State. We saw Yaya Bello. We saw all that happened. So let him learn and let him get to his house. Then pick him up to answer for some questions. Not what happened in the airport. It was very shameful for a nation.
But you know, some persons have said that this is a political witch hunt. Do you see any?
No. Forget about political witch hunt, Nena. If there's any political witch hunt, let him be arrested and let them charge him to court and let the court do his job. Do you understand? If there is anything, do you know that politicians always come up with narrative? Is he the only politician in Nigeria? Of what relevant is he? There are bigger politicians than El-Rufai. Why has Obi not been picked up? Even Atiku Abubakar, why has he not been picked up? If he has anything to answer against the state of Nigeria, he should be called for it. It's not bigger than Nigerians. And Nigeria as a country. So anything that has to do with political witch hunt is always a consultation by the politicians to encourage that kind of sympathy from you and I. The same you and I that they have rendered to this level that we are. So don't sympathize with them. There is nothing like political witch hunt. If there is anything against him, he should face the charges. He should go and face himself and defend it. He has lawyers. There are lawyers. So he should not be the one that is talking about political witch hunt. Because I don't even see how politically relevant he is now that anybody should be talking about witch hunting him. If they are against the state, he has questions to answer. The security agencies should be allowed to do their job.
Well, let's have a concluding thought before we draw the curtains onto this program.
We are entering the bigger era of Nigeria politics, come 2027 politics. The ruling party must make the atmosphere to be conducive for every political party that want to bring out candidates, aspirants and candidates for the election to have a fair play, not a situation where the ruling party will not be intimidating others because they are the one that has the mantle of governance. It must not be done. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people must be allowed to participate fully in who governs them. The democratic system of the country, the people owns it. So the ruling party must not, hijack it and make it like we are not become a motor park team. It's only touts in the motor park that fights, destroy campaign ground, destroy meetings, destroy billboard. Those must not be allowed to happen as we are entering the era now. Now that the timetable has been released. That's my parting shot, Nena.
Thank you very much, Mr. Limihele. Thank you very much for being a part of it. And thank you, Prince, for joining us all the way from Abuja. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. Explore the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and, of course, electoral governance. Thank you for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insights. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nena Ndomdioto. This has been The Issues on Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
On Voice of the People Television, let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not going to the talk, please discuss.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs the voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing
And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Bantu Stephen Biko, born December 18, 1946, was a South African anti-apartheid activist. Ideologically an African nationalist and African socialist, he was at the forefront of a grassroots anti-apartheid campaign known as the Black Consciousness Movement during the late 1960s and 1970s. His ideas were articulated in a series of articles published under the pseudonym Frank Talk. Raised in a poor Xhosa family, Steve Biko grew up in Ginsberg Township in the Eastern Cape. In 1966, he began studying medicine at the University of Natal, where he joined the National Union of South African Students.
We have to teach our children black history. Tell them about our black heroes, our black culture, so they don't face the white man believing they are inferior. Then we'll stand up to him any way he chooses.
Strongly opposed to the apartheid system of racial segregation and white minority rule in South Africa, He was frustrated that the Union of South African Students and other anti-apartheid groups were dominated by white liberals rather than by the blacks who were the most affected by apartheid. He believes that well-intentioned white liberals failed to comprehend the black experience and often acted in a paternalistic manner. He developed the view that to avoid white domination, black people had to organize independently, and to this end, he became a leading figure in the creation of the South African Student Organization, SASO, in 1968. Membership was open only to blacks, a term that Biko used in reference not just to Bantu-speaking Africans, but also to coloreds and the Indians. He was careful to keep his movement independent of white liberals, but opposed the anti-white hatred and had white friends. The white minority National Party government were initially supportive, seeing SASO's creation as a victory for apartheid's ethos of racial separatism. Influenced by the Martinician philosopher Frantz Fanon and the African-American Black Power movement, Biko and his compatriots developed black consciousness as SASO's official ideology. The movement campaigned for an end to apartheid and the transition of South Africa towards universal suffrage and a socialist economy. Biko believes that black people needed to rid themselves of any sense of racial inferiority, an idea he expressed by popularizing the slogan, "Black is beautiful." In 1972, he was involved in founding the Black People's Convention, BPC, to promote black consciousness ideas among the wider population. The government came to see Biko as a subversive threat and placed him under a banning order in 1973, severely restricting his activities. During his ban, he received repeated anonymous threats and was detained by state security services on several occasions. Following his arrest in August 1977, Biko was beaten to death by state security officers. Over 20,000 people attended his funeral. Biko's fame spread posthumously. He became one of the earliest icons of the movement against apartheid and is regarded as a political martyr and the father of black consciousness. His political legacy remains a matter of contention.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is Africa News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
More than a voice.
Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Voice of the People Television. I am Chioma Innocent. Before we begin, kindly visit our website. It's www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Tinubu commissions Kirby Secretariat restates resolve against the banditry. Afenifere warns of escalating terror in southwest region. Presidency alleges El-Rufai wiretapping NSA rebuttal. Reps reconvene Tuesday over election timetable. Federal government experts seek support for women against maternal health risk. Also, Guterres urges Nigeria to lead Africa's New World Order push. An underworld report, UK to deploy warships fighter jets to the Arctic. In business, Naira gap narrows to 65 as BDCs eye fresh dollar supply. In sports, Kenyan Karen wins Lagos City Marathon with $50,000 prize. And in the world of entertainment, Nigerian artist executive meet NRC MD ahead of Valentine Love Train. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's resolve to ending insecurity in Nigeria, vowing to win the war against any form of banditry and assuring that farmers will return to their farms across the country. President Tinubu spoke in Birni Kebbi, where he commissioned the state secretariat and an ultra-modern motor park before joining other guests at the Argungu International Fishing Festival. He further pledged to assist states to achieve food sufficiency across the country through massive agricultural support, while also reaffirming his commitment to the use of renewable energy to generate electricity in the state. Meanwhile, the president commended the governor of Kebbi State, Mohammed Idris, for the project, while describing the fishing festival as a very good show and a remarkable history and culture that has lasted for many years. Meanwhile, over 50,000 fishermen surged into the Matanfada River in Argungu, Kebbi State on Saturday for the grand finale of the 2026 Argungu Fishing Festival, Argungu International Fishing and Cultural Festival, AIFCF, much ahead of the commencement time. The development disrupted the established ceremonial protocol as the enthusiastic fishermen, dressed in traditional fishing attire and armed with nets and calabashes, entered the water for the much anticipated fishing competition. According to reports, some of the anxious competitors had arrived at the stipulated stand as early as 5 o'clock on Saturday morning for the grand fishing bid to commence at 8 o'clock. Apart from the catch that most of the lucky competitors would go home with, those who catch the biggest fish would also win cash and other prizes. Now in its 61st edition, the Argungu Fishing and Cultural Festival attracted participants and tourists from across Nigeria and neighboring countries, reinforcing its reputation as one of Africa's leading cultural tourism events. Away from that story, reports say people residing in parts of southern Kwara State have begun relocating from their communities following a threat letter allegedly warning of impending bandit attacks said to have been issued by a group called the Nigerian Terrorist Association, NTA. The letter was reportedly discovered at Ira Market in Oyu Council area on Thursday. Its threat to raid Ira, Inaja, Aho, and the surrounding towns has prompted fear amongst residents, according to an Ira chief who spoke on condition of anonymity. People are afraid, and some have left for nearby towns for fear of what might happen. According to the Oninaja of Inaja, Oba Wahabo Yeturu, the letter heightened tension and forced some residents to seek refuge in neighboring towns, including Offa. Confirming the letter, spokesperson for the Kwara State Police Command, Ejiria Detonwa Deyemi, said the police intelligence unit was investigating its veracity and possible sources. Meanwhile, security agencies are said to have intensified patrols across the communities in response to the threat. In the meantime, the Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization Afenifere has warned that the persistent terrorist attacks in states bordering the southwest region have heightened fears of a full-scale incursion into Yoruba land. In a statement by International Publicity Secretary Jare Ajayi, Afenifere described the repeated attacks in Kwara, Kogi, and Niger State, as well as the recent kidnappings in Ondo, Ekiti, and Oyo State, a deeply troubling security trajectory. The group recalled that heavily armed bandits who invaded Wuru and Nuku communities in Kayama Council area of Kwara State penultimate week reportedly killed nearly 200 people and abducted several others. Describing the trend as alarming, Afenifere said the abduction cases seem to be on the increase in Yoruba land, where bandits kidnapped several innocent citizens on Thursday, including a junior secondary school girl at the challenge area of Ibadan in Oyo State. Consequently, Afenifere called on the Southwest State governors and counterparts in neighboring Kwara, Kogi, Edo, and Delta State to urgently establish robust security arrangements against these developments. Now, onto preparations for the 2027 general elections. The House of Representatives says it will reconvene on Tuesday to deliberate on the election timetable released on Friday by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Spokesman of the House and Chairman of the Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akintunde Rotimi, said the lawmakers will deliberate on matters arising from the released timetable and schedule of activities. Rotimi disclosed in a statement that the plenary notice has been conveyed to members through an internal memorandum from the Office of the Speaker with attention to the constitutional and national significance of the development and the need for timely legislative consideration. According to him, during the emergency sitting, all legislative business relating to the matter is expected to be addressed expeditiously, and members have been strongly advised to prioritize attendance given the importance of the issues under consideration. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is considering some legislative interventions to address the concerns raised by Nigerians on the release timetable and schedule of the 2023 general elections. In a statement, the INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education, Mohammed Haruna, said the Commission was mindful of some concerns raised, including by some Muslim groups and individuals, about the timetable coinciding with the Ramadan period. INEC explained that the timetable was developed in compliance with existing regulations and legal provisions, adding that though it was already consulting with stakeholders on the issue, it might seek legislative interventions to address the concerns. However, it assured Nigerians that it remains sensitive to all legitimate concerns that might negatively impact electoral participation and the overall integrity of the elections. In another development, the presidency has called for the former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, to be investigated over what it described as an open confession of illegal wiretapping of the National Security Advisor, NSA, Nuhu Ribadu. In a post on X, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said El-Rufai's televised remarks suggested that he and some unnamed collaborators might have access to wiretapping facilities. He warned that such capacity in private hands posed serious national security implications. According to Ononuga, El-Rufai confessed to wiretapping Nigeria's NSA, and he should be thoroughly investigated and punishment meted out. He alleged that El-Rufai said the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, had procured the Department of State Services, DSS, to abduct him, with Ribadu making the call and ordering his arrest. Ononuga added that El-Rufai claimed that he and others listened to their calls, adding that the government also does wiretapping all the time without a court order. Now on to health issues. The federal government and some health experts have urged citizens, communities and policymakers to take immediate action to support women and girls in Nigeria against the maternal health risks. They made the call in Abuja during a charity walk program to commemorate the 2026 Valentine's Day by raising awareness about maternal mortality, limited access to quality health care, and the socio-economic barriers that prevent women from seeking proper care. Speaking at the event, which was organized by the Voice of Women Evolution Foundation in collaboration with the Maternal Health Initiative for Women, the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, emphasized preventive care, noting that women and girls require timely access to services including maternal health care, mental health, nutrition, and disease screening. Also speaking, founder of the foundation, Sophie Uzodimma, noted that love extends beyond romantic gestures, adding that many women in Nigeria, including single mothers, widows, and divorced women, often feel isolated and unsupported, especially on Valentine's Day. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has described Nigeria as uniquely positioned to lead Africa towards superpower status, urging it to spearhead the continent's quest for a restructured global order. Guterres stated that given Nigeria's demographic strength, democratic continuity, and deep resource base, the country stands a real chance of leading Africa to becoming the next superpower in the evolving global architecture. He also supported Nigeria's push for a permanent seat on the UN Security Council, while commending the President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms and the country's stabilization role in the Sahel and ECOWAS sub-region. Guterres' positions were relayed in a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Nkwocha. According to him, the UN chief spoke during a high-level bilateral meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima on the sidelines of the 39th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Edo State is grappling with a deadly Lassa fever outbreak, with 6 lives already lost and 28 infections confirmed. Health authorities are raising the alarm as the virus spreads rapidly in key communities, prompting the government to activate emergency response measures to curb further transmission. Our correspondent, Rhoda Johnny, has the details.
Declared a Lassa fever outbreak after confirming 28 cases and 6 deaths. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Cyril Ochomone, announced the development on Friday during a press briefing in Benin City. The government said the spike in cases, especially in Esako West and Esan West local government areas, shows sustained community transmission requiring urgent intervention.
Following a careful epidemiological review and the risk assessment by the Edo State Ministry of Health, I hereby formally declare a Lassa fever outbreak in Edo State. As at today, Edo State has recorded 28 laboratory confirmed cases of Lassa fever with reported 6 deaths. The recent increase in cases, particularly in Esako West and Esa West local government areas, signals sustained community transmission that requires immediate, coordinated, and escalated response. Edo State government have been proactive, knowing that Lassa fever outbreak has become periodic by donating Lassa pack to Ira Teaching Hospital. Now, what is Lassa fever? Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness caused by Lassa virus. It is primarily transmitted through contact with food or household items contaminated with urine or feces of infected rodents that we also call mastomys rats. There's also human-to-human transmission, which can also occur, especially in healthcare settings where infection prevention measures are not strictly observed. Early symptoms may resemble that of malaria or typhoid. You could have weakness, headache, but can also rapidly progress to severe illness if not treated early. I urge all Edo residents to maintain proper food storage and environmental hygiene, avoid contact with rodents, and eliminate rodent breeding sites. Report early to the nearest health center if experiencing persistent fever or responsive to malaria treatments. Healthcare workers must strictly adhere to infection prevention control protocol. Early presentation saves lives. Lassa fever is treatable when detected early.
Authorities have activated all pillars of the Edo State Public Health Emergency Operations Center to coordinate response efforts under Director of Public Health, Rhoda Johnny, BOP TV News.
Many thanks to our correspondent all the way from Benin, Rhoda Johnny, for that report. We'll now head to the news analysis segment, where I'll be joined by publisher and public relations consultant Muiwa Akintunde for the analysis segment on the news. Welcome to the news. All right, then we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll bring you more stories and, of course, the news analysis segment. Stay tuned. In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa Move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Hour right here on Voice of the People Television. It's time for us to bring in our guest for the news analysis. He's Muyiwa Akintunde, publisher and public relations consultant. Welcome to the news. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you with you.
All right, good to have you here. Let's begin with insecurity, which has been ravaging different parts of the country. The reports say people in Kwara State have begun relocating from their communities. Of course, this follows fatal attacks and of kidnappings. Earlier today, Boko Haram released a video saying the Nigerian government and the Kwara State government is running propaganda when they said only 20 or 30 people were kidnapped. And at the count, they had 176 people in their custody. In that video, you could see women and children visibly distressed, having been in their custody for almost a week now. While we're talking about this, you remember the reports of the Nigerian government paying a U.S. lobbying firm to dispute the claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. You are a PR person. From all indications, the PR on security or insecurity, as the case may be, is not looking good for Nigeria.
Yes, the PR is not good at all. And whatever strategy or effort that have been made, those things are not working. The reality is that the security situation in Nigeria is getting worse. Every day, every time, it's getting worse. And it's so sad that we cannot get a handle on it, which this Kwara State situation has shown. Interestingly, I know that part of Kwara State very well. I had been a reporter covering Kwara State several years ago, and that part of Kwara State was one of the places I used to frequent. And it's interesting, it's a very peaceful area, agrarian people, agriculture is their main source of income. They really are not people who are looking for trouble, and suddenly trouble gets into their community. And now we're talking about apps and every effort to, these are people who really don't have, they're just subsistence farmers. And the kidnappers are asking for millions of naira in ransom. What do they expect them to get it? More importantly is the fact that every day you wake up, you're not sure that you're going to see the end of that day in safety. You're not sure whether you are not going to be in captivity of these kidnappers or terrorists, we call them. I think the government should step up the security in those areas. They are vulnerable people, no doubt, because most of their communities are, just there, almost like living in their farmland. But despite that, the responsibility of the government is to provide security for for the citizens. The safety of life and property is one of the major responsibility of government. It's very unfortunate. We need to seek for intervention wherever we can get them, and that's why we all realize how the U.S. government intervened in the situation on Christmas Day, and it yielded some result. But then again, the question you begin to ask yourself is that where is our own security? Where is our intelligence? To be able to be on top of a security situation, intelligence is very important. So what's our intelligence doing? That every time you have repeated kidnapping in about the same communities, it's very unfortunate.
It's more than unfortunate. The president keeps saying something is being done about it, but people are having to relocate from their homes due to fear of attacks. It's gotten to the point where the terrorists now write letters before they attack the people. And they even told the people, oh, we heard that the men of your community are very strong. They are warriors. Let's see them try to stand against us. Would you say this brazenness is due to the fact that they are seeing that despite all the Nigerian government claims it is doing, it's not touching them?
Yes. Yes, indeed. I mean, the kidnappers can dare them because, like I said earlier, because they've done this over and over again, and they don't seem to have any resistance, from the government particularly, because what resistance can the ordinary people in the villages and the communities do? The police is there. We have the DSS. We have all kinds of security superstructure that should be there. And how can we allow accident to happen repeatedly? If the same thing happens over and over again in a particular spot, it can no longer be an accident. It only becomes an accident if it happens once or maybe the second time. So I think that it's very important that the government should. Now the people are planning to relocate. Now I won't blame them for relocating, because when you are in a particular location and you are not too sure whether you will not be in the hands of the kidnappers in the next second, you really have to look for some other place to live. It's very troubling. What's happening is very worrisome.
All right, more than worrisome, because the Afenifere is also talking about it. They say they are escalating terror attacks in the southwest region. Interestingly, Sunday Igboho came out to say that he has the manpower to actually go into the bushes and flush out the bandits that are on the fringes of the southwest region, if only he will get support from the federal government. So it's gotten to the point where we are collaborating with foreign nations. We are allowing their military come into Nigeria, boots on ground, as they call it. We are getting support with equipment to fight against these bandits. And also our people internally are saying, oh, we want to fight right now.
Yes, in every situation, every profession, the expression, you don't have to use the local people. There's no way. I mean, because in public relations, for instance, no matter how highly strategic or tactical a foreign PR firm is, for instance, when it comes to a country, comes to a locality, comes to Nigeria, for instance, it still has to work with people who understand that environment, So if Sunday Igboho, as I said now, is ready to offer, so we should look for help from anywhere. Anywhere we can get it.
You think the federal government should buy into that? If Sunday Igboho says he's ready to contribute what he can, he's ready to contribute his manpower, to contribute his expertise, the federal government should jump on that?
Yes, I think that is something that the government should look at, because if you have tried the strategy over time and it's not working, government has used the conventional security, the police, the DSS, but these guys still keep coming to do the same thing over and over again. So if you have some other person who seems to understand that environment very well and says that I can help you, I would rather the government should stand, discuss with that group, so whether Sunday go or another person. The important thing is that we make sure that we protect the communities from, being vulnerable and being attacked over time. So if it is Sunday go that we solve the problem, why not?
The problem that the Nigerian government and security apparatuses have not been able to solve. You think Sunday Igboho can solve it? Let's talk about another issue still bordering on security. You've heard about El-Rufai saying there was an attempt to arrest him as he got into the country from Cairo. That was on Thursday. There were videos making the rounds. And after that, El-Rufai went on national television. In an interview, he talked about how he wiretapped the phone of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu. And that was how he got to understand that there was a conspiracy against him to have him arrested. Now, this begs a lot of questions in the minds of Nigerians, actually. First up, how secure, this is the National Security Advisor, if his phone can be wiretapped and he did not know about it, exactly what kind of security advice is he giving to the president? I mean, we're seeing security being rife all across the country. So how secure is he? How secure is the president? How secure are Nigerians? If the National Security Advisor can have his own communication device being compromised. Now, it's not just that. El-Rufai is in the opposition. There is a fear in the minds of some Nigerians that he could have gotten any information within the period that he claimed he wiretapped the phone of the National Security Advisor, and that information could get into the wrong hands.
Okay, let me start by saying that El-Rufai is a politician, and over the years, I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. I've learned not to trust politicians for whatever they say. I'm not saying it's lying, but it could also be playing up to a game, about saying that it was able to, tap into the conversation of national security, advisor. He needs to come up. I mean, eventually, I'm sure that the security people would call him in and find out what exactly is happening.
Well, why would he lie against himself like that if it is not true? That's a grave allegation. Okay.
No, I'm just laying a basis for the fact that a politician, when a person makes an election, I naturally take it with a pinch of salt. But let's assume that what El-Rufai is saying is true. Let's assume that it is true. It is very, 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 very dangerous what has happened, because if you are able to tap into the conversation of the national security, we're not talking about just any other ordinary citizen, national security advisor, then it means that it means that even foreign, assuming Nigeria is at war with some other countries, it means that we cannot really trust the integrity of the, whatever facility that national security advisor and some of them have, which once is very dangerous for Nigeria. And, that's why I started by saying that I just want to feel that maybe something is not right until we're able to establish it. But like I said, let's establish that is the truth. It then means that the government needs to be more worried about the security architecture rather than trying to talk about them. And about is being the government harassing those in opposition. It's very unfortunate if the government decides to say, because you are not joining us, because you are part of us, and then you move on to another political party that is trying to make it impossible for us to win election or win re-election. Again, it's another political strategy that should not be deployed by any government. But like I said, when I was talking about the first part of this question, politicians also are very interesting people. The way our politicians are in Nigeria particularly, it is what they call on the street, anywhere belief is. They tend to move toward the party that is in power. And if they now find themselves like El-Rufai and Co. in the opposition, they also have to provide a justification why they are in the opposition. So it could well be that the government is harassing them, yes, but it could also be that they also need to also say something that would, create an emotional connection between them and the people that they want to, convince. But generally for me, when it comes to talking about politicians, it is not everything that they say that I think is the way it is, because they all play the game of propaganda, whether you are in government or out of government. We've seen so many. One of the things that they used against the Jonathan government, for instance, was propaganda. Was unfortunate, but they used it and they succeeded. So propaganda will always be the thing that politicians will be using, whether they are in government or outside government.
Now, there are some who say that just as you have posited that he may just be saying these things to get an invitation from the federal government. That is for a different negotiation, because many people still believe that his discontentment or displeasure with this administration stems from the fact that he was snubbed for a ministerial appointment. Do you think if the federal government reaches out to El-Rufai now to say, okay, you know what, we're ready to make atonement for what was the perceived slime that you experienced on the floor of the Senate, and come work with us, that he will run back to the APC, despite everything he has said and all the revelations he's given against the federal government?
Well, nothing can be ruled out. You see, the scenario you have painted will well be the situation. But again, of course, we've seen it in so many cases, you know, at the beginning of this government, leading to the election of 2023 even, Reno Mercury was one of the harshest critics of Bola Tinubu particularly, and the APC. The same thing with Daniel Bwala, and suddenly they turn 360 degrees and they become, you know, the ones that are now advocating for APC, including Reno, even now an ambassador designate. So it's not unlikely that the game that, after all, El-Rufai was one of those who played significant role in ensuring that not only did Bola Tinubu get ticket of APC, he was actually in the forefront, but also to ensure that he won the presidential election. Although APC did not win in Kaduna State, they still mentioned that again. Some people will say he didn't even support the incumbent governor sufficiently that the governor had to step up the game by himself to win the election. But whatever the case, anything can happen in politics. It is possible that all of this, I mean, El-Rufai was a very good friend of this government and the president until suddenly the Senate did not allow him, did not clear him due to what they claim to be security reasons. Did not clear him to be a minister. So if El-Rufai had succeeded and had become a minister, I'm sure that the song he's singing now would have been a totally different one. So it's also not unlikely. I don't trust politicians as a matter of policy. I would not be surprised if any politician who is seem to be in opposition or who seem to be in the ruling party suddenly wakes up the next day and says that he or she is doing, going to the other way. Anything can happen in the case of El-Rufai, just like it can happen in the case of any other politician.
All right, then we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what comes out of these political machinations. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour today, Mr. Akintunde. We do appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, then. Enjoy the rest of your day. You're still watching the News Hour, Voice of the People television. When we return, China begins zero tariffs on African imports May 1, 2026. Stay with us. Welcome back. China has announced May 1, 2026 as the takeoff date for the country's implementation of zero tariffs on imports from 53 African countries with which it has diplomatic relations. The policy excludes Eswatini, which maintains diplomatic relations with Taiwan. The move aims to deepen trade and economic cooperation between China and Africa, with African exporters gaining easier access to China's large consumer market. China will also continue to negotiate joint economic partnership pacts and expand market access for African exports through channel. The policy is expected to boost Africa's industrialization, diversify exports, and strengthen regional value chains. China is Africa's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade exceeding $296 billion in 2024. Still in the news, the Akwa Ibom state government says it has commenced the process of establishing the State Electricity Regulatory Commission and concessioning of the Ibom power plant. Disclosing this on Saturday, the Commissioner for Power, Inyobong Robson, explained that the development was part of efforts to improve electricity supply across the state. According to him, the development followed the signing of the amended Electricity Act by President Bola Tinubu, which empowered states to generate, distribute and regulate electricity within their jurisdictions. He added that the state government was taking advantage of the new legal framework to assume greater control of its power sector and address persistent electricity challenges. Now, journalists across various media organizations are strengthening their capacity to report business and economic issues with greater accuracy and depth. This follows a specialized journalism clinic organized by the Media Career Development Network in collaboration with the United States Consulate General, aimed at enhancing business and economic reported skills. VOPTV's Matthew Ogunswada was there and files in this report.
Journalists from various media outlets gathered for a specialized training aimed at strengthening business and economic reporting, facilitated by the Media Career Development Network, MCDN, in collaboration with the United States Consulate General. Speaking at the training, Executive Director Lekan Otufodunrin, alongside other facilitators, stressed the importance of journalists deepening their understanding of economic policies, data interpretation, and financial literacy to enhance accurate and impactful reporting.
The idea is to ensure that there is a pass down of some of this knowledge and we can interact. So as much as possible, this is not a lecture. This is just some engagement, some reminders, some pointers, some things that can stimulate you to look at some of the things you are doing differently.
Today's session on business and economics reporting is especially timely. Just 2 weeks ago, we convened the U.S.-Nigeria Commercial and Investment Partnership Ministerial Meeting here in Lagos, reaffirming our 5-year Memorandum of Understanding to expand trade, investment, and private sector-led economic growth. The U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary Bradley McKinney and Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade, and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Odewole, co-chaired discussions at the event on how to deliver tangible, long-term improvements to the business environment and remove barriers to trade and investment in 3 priority areas, which are agriculture, digital economy, and infrastructure.
Here at the U.S. Consulate and the U.S. Mission in Nigeria, it's really important for us to provide support to journalists. Freedom of speech is one of the things that the United States is founded on. I'm not sure if many of you know, but this is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. So we are, throughout the year, celebrating all of these things in our foundings that really made the United States what it is today. And one of them is freedom of speech that continues to be upheld by journalists.
The essence of a training like this is to enable us to understand some of the things that should be in our stories. So money, we follow the money. Well, that's what we do. That's the summary of what we do. We follow the money. So anytime the deal is struck, you hear that Julius Berger is building a road over there. If I were you, I would go there and find out exactly how much the contract is worth.
Participants at the clinic expressed appreciation for the hands-on sessions, describing the training as timely and practical, especially in helping journalists navigate complex economic issues and simplify them for public understanding.
When business journalists actually do well in their job and armed with enough data and this used to actually process the information, then we can do better and more impactful reporting that even benefits the society and everyday people in the country.
Interplays of everything that happens in the economy, affects every household, affects every Nigerian. That's why we have to begin to hold our job in high esteem and take every data, scrutinize it, follow up and understand these things and speak to analysts if we do not really understand.
I think it's very important that some of the things that we learned today were taught to people who are on the front line of journalism. So today, basically one key takeaway is that facts are very, very important and journalists generally play a huge role in how much development comes to Nigeria in the economic sector.
Following the training, journalists say they are better equipped to deliver insightful, data-driven and solution-focused business and economic reports that can contribute meaningfully to national development. Matthew Ogunswada, reporting for Voice of the People Television.
Many thanks to Matthew Ogunsuada for that amazing report. Now, away from that, we'll bring you the world report. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the United Kingdom will deploy a fleet of warships and fighter jets to the Arctic in 2026, led by HMS Prince of Wales, as part of a North Atlantic Treaty Organization NATO operation to deter Russian aggression. Starmer announced the move at the Munich Security Conference, where he emphasized the need for deeper NATO's Arctic Sentry mission, designed to reinforce security in the region. Meanwhile, the chairman of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Yusuf, has called for an end to what he called the extermination of Palestinian people, citing Israel's war on Gaza that has killed no fewer than 72,045 people and wounded over 171,686 since October 2023. Yusuf, who spoke at the 39th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, urged international law and humanitarian law to be upheld. He also highlighted multiple conflicts in Africa, calling for the silencing of the guns across the continent, with Sudan, Sahel, Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and Somalia as hotspots. Meanwhile, speaking on the water sanitation as the theme of the summit, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres praised the AU as a flagship for multilateralism. From the World Report, to take you straight into a business where the Naira gap, which is the spread between the official foreign exchange and the parallel market, narrowed further to 65 Naira at the weekend as Bureau de Change operators prepare to access fresh dollar supply from banks. This comes as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, reopened the foreign exchange market for retail bureaus. According to CBN data, the Naira depreciated marginally to 1,355 Naira 42 kobo per dollar on Friday, a loss of 0.13% from 1,353 Naira 66 kobo on Thursday. However, on a week-on-week basis, the Naira gained 10 Naira 77 kobo per dollar. In the parallel market, the Naira appreciated by 10 Naira to 1,420 Naira per dollar, a 0.7% gain from 1,430 Naira on Tuesday. Next, to bring you sport news, where Kenyan athlete Isra Kering has won the 11th edition of the Lagos City Marathon, clocking a time of 2 hours, 11 minutes and 55 seconds to secure the top prize of $50,000. Kering's victory reinforces the marathon status as one of Africa's most lucrative road events. Uganda's Lomoy Samuel finished second in 2 hours, 11 minutes and 59 seconds to claim the $20,000 runner-up prize, while Namutala Lumbasi took third place with a time of 2 hours, 12 minutes and 25 seconds, earning $15,000. Nigerian athlete Aboyi Inyango emerged the first local finisher in the men's race in 2 hours, 25 minutes and 32 seconds. In the women's category, Ethiopia's Dinke Meleka won in 2 hours, 37 minutes and 36 seconds, followed by Kenya's Cheyech Daniel in 2 hours, 37 minutes and 43 seconds, while Ethiopia's Zodalem Getau completed the race in 2 hours, 38 minutes and 59 seconds. And finally, entertainment. A delegation of top Nigerian artists and entertainment executives has visited the managing director of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, Kayode Okpeifa, to discuss the 2026 Valentine Love Train. The team included musician Sonny Neji, Old Jazz Entertainment Managing Director Joseph Odobiatu, and vocalist Yinka Davis. The visit aimed to finalize preparations for the Valentine Love Train experience at the Mobolaji Johnson train station in Ebute Meta. And that's it on the news hour. Thank you for watching. My name is Shoma Innocent.
TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not a spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpeon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, please discuss.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging 1-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand.
Behind every broken desk lies a broken promise. Education shapes the nations. But who is asking the right questions? Introducing Edu Dialogue, the show that goes beyond the surface, exposes the cracks, the corruption, and the silence in Nigeria's education system. Edu Dialogue, Saturdays, 3 p.m., only on VOP TV. We break the biggest stories, from missing funds to policy failures. We ask the tough questions and demand real answers. Edu Dialogue, this Saturday, 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Television.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I? With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The people's voice. Make your voice count.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
I'm Sarah Nystrom from Sweden, aka Chief Omobawale, Communication Queen. Keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobs, representing the States. Miami's in the house, and I want to make a shout out to VOP TV. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also a rep in the film industry and the art industry. I help dreams come true, and I help you keep on that path. Shout out to VOP TV because you're helping people stay on their path too. Cheers.
All right, my name is John Odibo. Keep watching Voice of the People because it's a fantastic station to be with all the time. Thank you very much.
My name is Pastor Elvis Siru, the convener of the Voice Achievers Award, and keep watching VOP. Yes, that is the channel for all the people. No color, no race. Thank you so much.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is Abbas Sunkan from the Netherlands. I am a designer and I'm here in Eco Hotel and Suits. Keep watching VOP, the voice of the people. Don't touch that dial.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
The red carpet. Now, you have more than a voice.
Hello there and welcome on board. Yes, it's a special edition of the Morning Buzz on Voice of People Television. It's Valentine, and of course, I believe you understand what that particular means, why it is a special edition. My name is Savior Udo. Welcome on board.
I am Nena Ndomdioto. Of course, happy Valentine from me to you. Top on our radar this morning.
Yeah, we'll be talking about INEC's 2027 election plans. Of course, you would agree with me that it's actually sparking controversy across the nation. Over 873 billion naira spending amid Nigerians' poverty crisis. And of course, we'll be talking about the DSS situation. An alleged DSS arrest attempt at Abuja Airport has intensified political tensions surrounding Air Rufai.
These are the major topics of discussion for today. However, we also have other interesting trending stories. Before we proceed, we urge you to kindly click on the subscription button and subscribe to our YouTube channel on Voice of the People Television, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Also visit our website, www.vop.ng, for fresh and trending news. As Voice of the People Television, your opinion matters to us. Therefore, we encourage you to call and share your thoughts and reactions via WhatsApp on 0904 473 2605, because here you have more than a voice.
Talking about someone that has more than a voice, yes, I needed to ask this beautiful lady here. What are your plans for Valentine? Lady in red, right? How will I start this song? Lady in red.
She's dancing with me. Oh, my plans for Valentine. Why are you asking my plans for Valentine?
You have to let me know.
Why should I let you know?
Okay, no problem. Since we're still here, so I think I have to just monitor you, and I have to pay for a private investigator, to follow you around, because I'm suspecting you. Like, she came in today and she was just dancing, singing. I was like,
because it's a day of love. And I'm happy to witness a day of love. I love love. Everyone who knows me knows Nena loves love. So,
okay, so I think it's a special edition for her. But notwithstanding, have you gotten something yet? Or you want to keep it away from us? Have you gotten gifts like chocolate?
Let's leave that.
Let's leave it. But Nena, I was thinking that your gender was actually saying that Nigerian men are not romantic.
Of course, most Nigerian men are not romantic.
How would you rate it?
Well, okay, so when I say most Nigerian men, okay, let me retract my words.
Okay.
Some Nigerian men are romantic.
Okay.
Some don't see it. Some don't see the need to be romantic in the way we want.
I was going there.
In the way we want.
I would like you to put context and, of course, explain how you
want romance, how we want romance, how we want romantic,
means, yes,
exactly.
Romantic, yeah.
Okay, so for us as women, majority of us as women, we want the date nights, we want the gifts, you know, we want breakfast in bed on a day like this. You know, you would want to. It's not just yes, we're Africans, but it doesn't mean that we can't borrow some things from the Western world. It is not about the Western world. It's about you just showing love to your woman. So, you know, there's really nothing stopping you from bringing breakfast in bed or taking, if you have kids, taking the woman away for the night or the entire day. But some Nigerian men will feel like that is not important. They will actually rather express it in acts of service. It's not a bad thing, but like I said, some Nigerian men don't express love the way we want it to be expressed. Many of us want the gift. We want the date. Just have, you know, just quality time with the person you love.
You know, I'm just looking at my colleague here and I said, oh, my colleague has watched so many telenovelas. She's actually watched so many. My colleague has watched so many Indian movies. How do I start to save up from
I don't watch Indian movies, funnily enough. I don't watch Indian movies.
But on a more serious note, I understand the fact that, you know, little things count when it comes to, you know, act of service. But sometimes the breakfast in bed might not come because it is not every man that knows how to cook.
It doesn't, see,
do you understand?
It doesn't really have to be a lot. It could just, that's what I'm saying.
The date night you're talking about, like, you know how, let's use Lagos for example. You know how our hustle and bustle situation is. So is it when the man is back at 9 p.m. or let's say
you can be intentional and want to.
And that's when you say, oh, let's go for a date night out again.
See, it doesn't have to be.
Or the date night can be in the house.
It can be in the house. It doesn't have to be something out of the box. It doesn't have to be something extraordinary.
Something extra, yeah.
It could just be you know, just have a movie night. Just do something. Just have that time with you and, you know, it doesn't have to be something very extraordinary, something very extravagant.
For my colleague too.
Little things matter.
They are the other side. They are not actually working for Nigerians. Nigerians showed a willingness to confront rascality by these law enforcement agencies. Let us not think that that was a show of love or concern for El-Rufai, because that's another ballgame. Even what happened in Kaduna when he arrived should not be mistaken as a show of love or concern, but as a show of love and concern for anybody willing to object and push back on this very evil system. So Nigerians are beginning to show a willingness to push back, and we must encourage that pushback. It should continue even when the police unlawfully come to arrest, when the EFCC come to arrest unlawfully. Nigerians should be able to tell them, look, this is not, you are a law enforcement agency and not a law-breaking agency. And I knew that even if they were armed, when they look at the number of people around them, they will think twice. They will now be wondering, can we shoot ourselves through this place in case of a commotion? That's the spirit of the never say die, the enough is enough that we've been asking Nigerians to imbibe. When you see the wrongs being done by supposedly law enforcement agency, challenge them. Because when their masters, when their directors, when whoever gives them those unlawful orders, they are not bound to obey unlawful orders. They are bound to obey lawful orders. Even the military. Any soldier, any policeman, any law enforcement agency is only duty bound to obey lawful orders. If your superior officers command you to do the wrongs, say no. So those rascal elements from the DSS who came to apprehend somebody and they came without a letter of invitation, they claimed that it was just an invitation, oral invitation. If you say it's an oral invitation, the man has told you, okay, I've heard, go back, formalize it. Why will you insist on picking him up if it was not an abduction, if it was not an illegality? So Nigerians by themselves knew that was an illegality and they came around. That is the spirit I want Nigerians to imbibe as we move on. Thank you very much.
Okay, Barrister, you're saying that this is not just about the love for El-Rufai, that it is just Nigerians trying to, you know, stand their ground and ensure that the right things are done. Okay,
yes.
Okay, let's hear from Dr. Nosike. Dr. Nosike, you know, one of the things that was said is that some persons have actually said that there's a political undertone to this. Do you agree with that?
I want to start with what happened in Abuja airport. It goes beyond the Aerofy. That's a rejection of the government of the day by the Nigerian masses. They know that this DSS, EFCC are not being professional. Understand? That's a message to the government of the day. So it goes beyond Aerofy. It goes beyond those zombies that were sent. Understand? So using a finance interpretation of that word, zombie. Understand? So that's a rejection of the government of the day. We will not continue to allow impunity in our country. Aerofy was the former minister of FCT. Aerofy was a two-term governor. You should give him that personal recognition by inviting him officially, instead of coming to the airport that to pick him like an arbor on Lagos Road. So Nigeria just say enough is enough. And this is winning sympathy for him. And it is that sympathy that was witnessed when he got to his state. Understand? So if government is thinking, they should know that they are losing this battle. And this will even make, when they say that somebody is committed a heinous crime, Nigerian masses will be on the side of that criminal, because they know that the government is not transparent. Understand me? They know that the government is not transparent. Okay, is it only the people in the opposition that are committing crimes in Nigeria? Understand me? That's the question. All the revelations made against the Minister of Defense state, he has still been in the office. Imagine if it's somebody in the opposition, understand, that his media, that his SA, came on and said that my master sent me to do this and that. Or the man who have been in prison up till now. So Nigerians are realizing that this government is not transparent at all. And they are showing sympathy to the victims. So it goes beyond their fire.
Okay. Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Kundayo. You know, if you don't have skeleton in your cupboard in Nigeria, okay, let's leave Nigeria. You know, some person will say, okay, Nigeria, we know that sometimes you get to have this happen to opposition. But if that person does not, yes, you are in the opposition, but if you don't have skeletons in your cupboard, would anyone come for you? We've seen someone like Peter Obi. Nobody has come for him. So don't you think that those people, that's why they're in the opposition, don't think because they also have some skeletons in their cupboard, because their hands are clean. Really, no opposition would have anything. So
every member of APC is a saint.
I'm not saying that.
I'm even coming to your question. Even if he has a skeleton,
okay.
Doctor, I've said it. And some sacred. We have some sacred that are not touchable. Some people have skeleton, it cannot be touched. You know what they did to Shomore now? So he has skeletons in his cupboard for him to spend so long a time in detention. Okay, what about I remember he who was picked the moment he finished INEC chairmanship. He was picked, he was tried. So why Mahmoud was not picked? Where is the most corrupt of all of? Because you told us openly that you are going to make use of the beavers. They even added to your money. You said it on air. Everybody showed it across board. You came back and told us it wasn't required. And then they didn't ask you, okay, come and give accountability. How many did you buy? How much did you spend? What did you eat? Nothing up to now. And they made him an ambassador without accountability, for God's sake. And then you are picking others because they have skeleton in their cupboard. What about the others too? Okay, Mahmoud Yakubu headed the commission. It's not different from a governor now. It's not, because budgets were given to you humongously, and then you manage a system. You must give accountability now. So if you are telling others that, okay, everybody has skeleton in his cupboard, we are not disputing that. Malami has skeleton in his cupboard. is fine. But what about the others, for God's sake? You are rewarding some, you are punishing the others. And then are we not going to be looking at the others and praising you that you are fighting corruption? What about the people who are close, who you just let go? Mamu is supposed to be facing. Okay, look at what we are talking about the Abukuta now. That is budgeting new to buy equipment. The question is, what about the old ones that the last INEC chairman
just 3 years ago?
And then you rewarded him. No accountability. Nothing is just. You are telling us that others have skeleton in their company. We are not arguing with that. What you are saying is that what about the others you let go? What about the others that you are letting go? It's not fair. We should be equal before the law.
Okay, let me come to you, comrade. Mr. Kundari has really spoken very passionately, and he's saying even if these opposition figures have skeletons in their cupboard, that there's a need for the same due process is needed out. Due process is important, yes, because the way, let's hear from comrade, let's hear from you. Due process, according to Dr. Anosike, what do you make of this? The way he was picked up from the airport.
Rule of law.
And of course, rule of law is quite important as well. What do you make of this entire incident surrounding El Rufai?
Well, for me, I think it's disturbing. Increasingly, the government is resorting to Gestapo-like strategies, to hound key opposition figures. I find that disturbing. I hear the comparison. I am not big on the whataboutism, because the issue in itself is enough, a standalone. First, if it was indeed the ICPC that wanted to, hound and arrest or whatever, abduct Nasir Ahmed El Rufai, the question is, did they, before that day, invite him for questioning and he refused? It was, in fact, initially, I think when I watched the interview, he was saying that actually the lawyer was wrong. He thought it was the EFC because those people who have communicated with him, he thought too. So how does it happen? Without any form of communication, you lay siege for a traveler to abduct or arrest. So that's, for me, I think, is the issue. It's not whether opposition and non-opposition supporters are being equally treated. The reality is that the way they have chosen to address the El Rufai issue at the airport was wrong. There are basic rights every Nigerian enjoy. Freedom of movement, freedom of association. So if you freedom of personal liberty, you don't abridge those rights just because you are a tenant at Apto Rock or an employee of a tenant because you're a national security advisor. These are issues that I feel that, and because our Nigerian politicians are short-sighted, they don't think. They don't think beyond their noses. Because if they did, no Ribadu would know, for example, that power is transient. As early as 2027, he may lose power. His principal may lose power. Even if the principal eventually wins the election, 2031 is a terminal date. He will lose power. What happens after that? How are people not interested in posterity? How is it that somebody in the mode of, if El Rufai can be so brazenly attempt to abduct somebody so popular as El Rufai, like has already been pointed out, he's a former minister of the FCT, a former two-time governor. He's not just any other person. If El Rufai can be so hounded, what happens to an Ibrahim Momo? It's something that we should. So I think, and then that was the point about the rule of law. You see, one of the basic elements of the law of national justice is that one law must recognize. There shouldn't be one law for those in government, those in the major in power, and then another law for those out of government or those in opposition. It is one law, one country. It should be equally applicable. The reality is that no matter how much effort they put in to try to explain away the rubbish, the wrong thing they did, with all due respect, the wrong thing they did at the airport, it was wrong. And they must learn from it. Because those who fail to learn from history are going to be victims of that history. So, no Ribadu. El-Rufai was a smart governor, a smart minister. No Ribadu NSA today. Tomorrow he will be out of power. He thinks Nigerians, there will be no time for accountability. There will. There will.
Momo, I think I'm only finding it disturbing when you and Dr. Anosike are using the word he was a former, a minister of FCT and of course full-time governor. Are you trying to say that he should be treated with respect when they said they have a case on him? Don't forget, it is said that 2 of his people, his close allies, are already in custody of the ICPC. Yeah. So I wouldn't want us to use emotion to explain all of this.
No, don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I said that they shouldn't. I spoke about the fact that that one law must be applicable to everybody.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that when it comes, El-Rufai is not somebody, for example, who is unknown or who can hide. Is somebody that it's not a zero figure. I'm saying that it's a very popular person. It means that if he refuses to honor invitation or summons, it could easily be tracked down. That's the point I'm making about inspection. I'm not saying that is above the law or should be treated specially. No, I am somebody who is big, who is against preferential treatment. I don't buy it. I don't support it. I think so. In this context, in the way he has been handled, being a Nigerian in the first instance, he has some personal rights, personal liberty. He has some rights, fundamentally guaranteed rights. It's also the fact that he is somebody that cannot easily hide El-Rufai's movement. I'm in Edo, I'm in Ekpom as I speak to you, but I know I could, if I want to, know or track El-Rufai's movement. The DSS, the ICPC, the SEC, even the NSA can also track those track his movement too. So the idea that somebody like that.
Okay, so comrade, just for me to give clarity on that particular one, I think our DSS or our EFCC or what have you, they might not be able to track anybody's, especially the political figures movement, because don't forget that there was a time that they rather announced that the former governor of Kogi State was wanted, as if they didn't know where he was.
They knew where he was.
So they can decide to tell you that they don't know where he is. So you shouldn't tell them that they do. They don't know. That's why they can say he's wanted. But let me come back to the studio. Thank you so much, Comrade Momo. Doctor, let me come back to you. When you were giving your session, I was really enjoying everyone's takes sincerely. And what you said was former minister, two-time governor, and I was asking, if it were to be just a random person, maybe Xavier Udo, maybe Mr. Kunda, do you think I wouldn't have been whisked away? But that's
so many slaps.
You understand? Yes. But that's not even the case. The conversation here is there even a crime at all? Now, if you heard that particular interview, El-Rufai said, I was thinking it was the EFCC that invited me. And I tried reaching out to tell them that, my birthday is on Monday, I would come around. Now, why should this be a trajectory? Why should this be a modus operandi for our executive arm or our legislators that as soon as they are off, they are done with their term, they know that they will be invited, or there is always a case?
Well, it's a sign of desperation on the part of government. It is a sign of desperation on the part of government. The only person that they should arrest the way they wanted that to arrest El-Rufai is a Coup plotter. Somebody who wants to overthrow the government. Not somebody who there's an allegation of money embezzlement. That's it. If El-Rufai goes to court today, he can be granted bail based on personal recognition because of his attainments, because of who he is. Understand? He has properties in this country, understand? He has properties in this country. Even his own son is in the National Assembly.
Yes, House of Reps, yes.
So, I'm not saying that he is above the law. But they came to pick him without any paper, no single paper, understand? No court order, no written invitation, understand? Just phone us to our office. It doesn't happen.
And another thing is that he's been out of office for how many years now?
Since
why didn't you do all this?
It's about investigation.
No, listen. What I'm saying that ESCC, if you go to bank, they will put it there that any money that's above 5,000, any money that's the ESCC is aware. So you are not telling me that money for 8 years has been moving across and ESCC did not do anything. You are now doing the investigation after.
But when you are a governor, you have immunity. I believe.
I'm not talking about you. No.
So when he left,
Savior, doctor,
excuse me,
doctor, is there any immunity against investigation?
No.
No, so, we're not talking about that investigation.
I'm talking.
You have to close your case before they now come for you.
You don't get what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: the moment all these monies are moving, you are already doing your investigation.
Okay.
So the moment the person is out, you already have your documents.
Maybe they were not.
And then you present it. I already have a action against this person. Within the next 6 months, you already presenting your evidence.
I don't think
not 3, 4 years, 8 years. You are now presenting. You are now arresting inviting the person is corrupt after many years of office.
Well,
doesn't make sense.
It's not up to 8 years, 11 of.
I mean, no, I'm just talking that. How many 3 years? Even what about Gige? What about?
Let's move on. Let's move on to trends. Of course, we will. If the time you do something right, I'm just saying, does not matter as long as you do it right. I'm just saying, don't you think so?
Nena's dropped a quote. We've had this one.
The time you do something right.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying that ESCC is not doing its own work.
The
money that is moving.
Mr. Lawa, allow my colleague's quote to rest.
I'm just trying to move us away from there. Let's move on to our trends. Valentine's Day in Nigeria is turning into a full-blown. Tatanasuke looked at me like from where to where. Valentine's Day in Nigeria is turning into a full-blown emotional roller coaster. This is according to Spotify. Heartbreak playlists have overtaken love songs, with Gen Z leading the way. Nearly 60% of 18 to 24-year-olds tuned into Yen playlists over romantic ones. Men dominated the heartbreak streams, and Lagos topped the chart, showing that while romance may make headlines, heartbreak is very much trending in Nigeria's major cities. Well, it wasn't all tears. Nigerians got creative with their playlist, blending Afrobeat, street pop, and R&B, while celebrating friendship, community, and self-reflection. Gelatine and vibes and faith-based and podcast also searched, proving that Valentine's Day is no longer just about romantic love. It is about connection, healing, and sometimes laughing through the drama. Our virtual guests already told us that they don't believe in Valentine, but Valentine is just about. You say, Barry, I don't know if you are still here. You said you can love every day. Nobody's saying you cannot love every day, but this particular day, even if some of us will say, okay, the day that is the reason for Valentine is questionable, but it's not just about loving. It's not just about romantic love. It could also be about loving your neighbors, loving your friends, showing love generally to people. I don't know, Barry, I don't know if you want to speak to this this trend that it's not just romantic songs that have been. Ibrahim Momo, you're the one still on. Please, can you just comment on this? Heartbreak songs are trending more. What do you make of that? In just 1 minute, please. Okay, let's come to the studio. Let's come, Dr. Anosike. Do you want to speak to this? Heartbreak songs are trending more now than.
Yes, it's supposed because they say there are two important times that to cut a relationship: before Christmas and before Val, so that you don't have to buy any gift. Understand? So, but for those who are saying that enough every day, but there's need for a day to be set aside for remembrance. Just like 26th of January of December, that's Boxing Day. People do give every day, but a day needs to be made special.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear your take, Mr. Kundaya.
My own is that the reason is because controversies, generate more attention than one that is not controversial. A controversial statement, when you deviate from the norm, people want to listen. Than when you follow the normal thing. So we already know the love. Everybody knows love. So people are singing about it. So people decide, okay, what if we go the other way around? We might generate a new attention. So that's why they started moving towards that side. It's being creative anyway.
Okay, so you are coming from the work of art of the artists who actually sang the
the
song.
strategy to make money.
But no, of course I understand what you're saying. That's as regards to genre, or saying that, oh, I don't want to sing love song, I'm singing. But the people listening to these songs, are actually heartbroken, and not only that, people listening to this song are trying to heal. And just like what my colleague, read there. Spotify was able to do the charts to check it to understand that people are not, or so many people are not really listening to love song anymore. Love song would only be a love song when you are actually in love and you feel it's worth it to remember someone, but not when you are heartbroken or someone just abandoned you and you're expecting the same person to listen to love song. Of course, it's going to traumatize you. Yeah.
When hunger walks through the door, love jumps out of the window.
Wow.
When hunger walks through the door, love jumps out. So what you are saying in a nutshell is that before you fall in love, make money and have enough. That's all. Okay, so I think this is how far we can actually go on the show this wonderful morning. Of course, it is a very special edition of the Morning Boss, the Valentine edition to be precise. And it was really nice having you there, and of course us here doing what we know how to do best. Thank you so much, Dr. Anosike, for being part of the show. Thank you so much, Barrister Izeluche. Thank you, Comrade Momo, and of course thank you, Mr. Kundayo Lawa. Please remember, just like my colleague said, remember to share love. Remember to go out today. Remember to have fun, okay? It's about you at the end of the day. But please don't let hunger walk through the door, because love will actually fly out. This is how far we can actually go. And this is me saying that don't give up, because it is not over. Tough time doesn't last, but tough will do last. Whatsoever you face, soon be over. And you will definitely smile again. My name remains Savior Udo. Have a wonderful Valentine celebration.
And I am Nenna Ndomjot, of course, wishing you a wonderful and a lovely Valentine's Day.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP
of 1982, which was a religious riot. And this Sharia of a thing was introduced by the then governor of Zamfara State, Sani Yerima, not even Kwankwaso. And all the years that Kwankwaso was the governor, we have not heard him that's maybe coming openly to criticize Christians or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, Sabongari in Kanu is like Onitsha, it's
Yes,
like Aba.
yes, that's it.
Understand me? People do their business freely. Understand? So if it's because of the Hisba, understand me, that they are now putting his name, understand? They should put the name of Sheikh Gumi. They should put the name of the man that introduced Sharia. Understand me? But for me, the 9 million dollars is working, because we begin to hear of Kwankwaso when the speculation or the rumor come that there's a talk for him that to run with a P2B in 2027. Understand? Yerima and Sheikh Gumi, all of them are in APC. Understand me? Or they are sympathetic to the APC. So what happens is once you are in opposition, you become a demon. Understand me? So Kwankwaso's name is not supposed to be there unless they have information which we ordinary Nigerians don't have.
All right, Mr. Lawa, which of the news would you like to react to? I would like to react to that the one of Governor Makinde interfering again in the structure of this monarch, the traditional structure in Yoruba land. I don't know why we have this, I don't want to say evil politicians in this country. What is it? What has your own political aspect got to do with the traditional aspect? The traditional is totally separated from the political aspect now. The traditional decide who becomes their chiefs, who becomes the next king. They decide it. You have to look how you have to the next king or the king in that area will give the go ahead whether somebody should become chief or whatever, and then you can now send the recommendation to the political head there in that state. But now we see what they are doing. Even before, when white men were in Nigeria, when the British were ruling in Nigeria, they never interfered with the traditional structure of the country. The Alaafin has always been recognized as the paramount traditional ruler of the Yoruba people, and they respect it till they hand over. They never interfered. But we started having issues like this with Awolowo in 1950 something, when he moved forward to remove an Alaafin for the first time in the history of the Yorubas politically. And then later we saw Ajumobi coming in Ibadan to elevate some chiefs to the position of Obas without the consent of the Olubadan, and everybody went against it. When he left that post, they were demoted back to their various chiefs. And now we saw Makinde doing the same thing. If you see the video where this same governor went to prostrate before the former Alaafin Adeyemi III, that he wants to be governor, and they supported him. Now he's leaving, he's causing problem. Now, when he leaves now, we'll start going to, because Alavi has gone to court.
Okay.
What has that got to do with his office?
Okay. Okay. Basically, all I would just say is that if you look at the Nigerian, structure, this has not just been about the West. Even in the North, it is happening as well, and it's been a normal trajectory because these same monarchies have actually, looked for a way to make it look like they need a validation from the executive arm, and with that, there is nothing you can do about it as we speak now.
Oh.
No, back then,
the constitution for
that's what I'm saying. Back then, it was not always like that, but it now looks like the executive arm is calling every shot now because the monarchs have actually made it that easy. But because of our time, I'll just like that particular one to.
Oh no, what I want to say.
Okay.
Government come and go, but tradition remains.
Of course, but doctor, you agree with me that all of this.
So, and tradition is sacred. So it shouldn't be turned into political.
But if you notice, there are so many kings that were not even meant to be moving up and down. Any little thing, they are with this governor, they are with that governor.
You know why? Because these governors, what they do is that they infiltrate this traditional institution. They infiltrate by trying to put their own persons as the monarch.
But of course, let's just move away from that particular one. We have to go straight to the main conversation. One of the main conversation we'll be talking about this morning. INEC 2027 election plan sparks controversy amid 873 billion spending amid Nigerians' poverty crisis. And of course, I believe you understand what this particular one means. The Independent National Electoral Commission has officially fixed February 20, 2027